What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of KO Poetry. If you've been following along, you know that I've been going through my poems from my book Transform, and the book is actually split into two sections. And so far, the poetry that I've been reading comes from the Poems from the Light section. Today I thought it'd be cool to look at the other section, which is called Poems from the Dark. So let's go ahead and dive in with that. So I wrote this poem on February 9th, 2010, so taking it back. And I wrote it during a season of my life where I was very depressed. And I'll probably unpack the layers of that over time as we look at more poems from this section of the book. But this poem in particular I always really loved because of this contrast happening between this weight of numbness that I just felt around me all the time compared to just the thing that really helped me to feel alive during that season. That's all I'm going to say on it for now. I want to go ahead and read it and then we'll break it down a little more. So let's read the poem. Darkness surrounds my sight. No sound can be heard. A faint light pulses in the distance. Steady drumbeat plays. Snakes of colors slither quickly. Guitar notes slide. Rainbow spirals swirl. Orchestral crescendo. Beauty is before my eyes. The noises fade. The light dims. It is dark again. The silence is blinding. Okay, so this free verse poem is all about contrast and word painting. A lot of word painting happening here. I was really trying to create a visual experience with the words. And the focus is kind of on these two different realms, and one of them is sandwiched right in between the other. So I think I'll kind of break it down based on these two contrasting ideas. So silence is representing this dark realm. There isn't any music, there's no entertainment or shows, I'm not with anyone, nothing is being heard. And it's a sense of isolation. And I remember during this time in my life, I would spend hours in my room just with all the lights out, laying there in silence, and I just would feel so numb and just trapped. And in hindsight, I can see how just putting myself in that situation alone with my thoughts in the darkness probably wasn't helpful with my depression, but that was the place I wanted to be at that time. That's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to lay there and feel nothing and disappear into darkness, hide away and make myself small. I was left to face what was really going on within me. Insecurities, a sense of worthlessness, and this emptiness. It was all that I would focus on. It's just like this endless void. And that's what I was trying to express. You know, that's what it was representing of how I felt at that time. Just this empty, dark hole within my being that was always there. And when I finally sat in the silence, had to kind of look it right in the face. But then enter the music. So here, sandwiched between this darkness, is a reprieve from the void. You know that feeling when you start a song and it just captivates you, it just grabs your attention right away and just takes you off on this adventure. For me back then, music was everything. That experience was everything. And obviously I still love music today, but I don't rely on it the way that I did then. I needed it. I needed it all the time. It helped distract me from everything that was happening. It was where I could find empathy and relatability with the lyrics of my favorite bands. And it was an escape to far-off worlds created in my mind as I listened to the various soundscapes. It brought life to this shadow that I just felt weighing over me. And so that's why a lot of these lines here, you see, they have this quality of life because there's movement happening and there's color. A faint light pulses in the distance and snakes of color slither quickly. Rainbow spirals swirl. Beauty is before my eyes. Like All of this just creating this colorful world and helping me to feel something. I love how a really good song can transport you somewhere else entirely. Just create this whole world to dance around in. And for that reason, it's always sad when the song starts to come to an end. You know, you hear it nearing the end and fading away, and it's like, oh no, man, that was so great. Like, I just want to live in that song forever. It's why the final lines in the poem were so important to me and devastating. This colorful show happening before my eyes, the curtain was closing, and I was left in the dark to face the reality that my depression was still there, and this void was pulling me deeper into hopelessness and despair. It's kind of crazy to look back at all of this 13 years later after so much has changed. At that time, for one, I wouldn't have considered myself a musician. You know, I always loved music. Like, I just loved it. I loved listening and analyzing and thinking about it. And I wanted to learn to play instruments, but actually I was so involved in dance. Dance was my world back then, which obviously makes sense why there's so much about like movement and everything. You know, that was just crazy to think about now, my musical journey and what's happened since then. And even more than that is the fact that since then, I've placed my faith in Jesus and found in simplest terms the antidote to that void within. And, you know, the silence isn't blinding anymore. Even though things are still difficult and at times there's wrestling that I've had, it's just never going to be as despairing because he is there with me. I know in the depths of my being there's something so much greater. Even in the darkness, there is light with him. Just this idea that even when I'm in the darkest of times, knowing him, knowing this relationship I have with him, it brings light to that situation. It helps to guide me in what to do. And when there's things that I can't do about it, it reminds me to trust in him and remember what he's pulled me out of, that I'm not trapped anymore, you know, but I've been set free. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this poem. And I just want to say, for anyone who is in that place right now, I just want you to know, like, you are not alone. You are seen and you are known and you are so loved and so valuable. And God has such purpose for you and care for you and is there to hold you in his arms through every single season. There's this great organization called Death to Life Revolution, and I put their link in the description. It's just a place where you can chat with people. So if you're feeling hopeless and just like you need someone to talk to, like, please reach out to them. Even though I know it's kind of scary, having someone to just listen to you and to be able to express yourself, it just makes all the difference. But otherwise, that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching. This has been KO, here with you to create eternal perspective. And scene!